Well, hello. I want to review the Timekettle W4 Pro. So I got this system. I do a lot of traveling overseas and in Central America, and so I just thought it might be a cool thing to check out and see if I can use it for general conversations when I don't have an interpreter or something like that with me. So Timekettle Pro, W4 Pro, not a cheap item. So $429 on the Amazon store. So let's talk about what you get with it. So you get a little charger box, to be expected for a $400 item. On that charger box, you have a little button on the bottom that has just the ability to link that with your phone. That's what you're going to use to activate your Bluetooth. And then over here on the front, you got a little charging light and then a USB charger. When you open that system up, you kind of have a green right side and a blue left side, and they actually flash with the color. Let me open up again so you can see that flash when they close it, and let me see if I can open it again. See if they, yep, there you go. You can see that they kind of give you an initial flash with that color, so you can kind of see what color is what if you take them out of the box. And then, left side is one language, right side is the other language, okay? So you just kind of take them out, put them over your ear. Now, something I've seen with the W4 Pro that is different than the other units is it doesn't go inside the ear. So it's not like the I don't know, some of the units like a Apple Pro earbud that goes inside the ear. So it's not inside your ear blocking that sound from coming in. You still have a little bit of noise coming from the outside, which is nice. I will tell you though, it is thick and bulky, okay? So it's not real thin, and it's not bone conducting. So it's actually pushing that little audio out of there. So it's got to get inside of yours. You got to have it right on top of that ear, as opposed to something like a aftershock that's very slim and sits on the outside of your ear and is using bone conducting. This is not the case with this. So you got to have that. You got to have that volume up. Now, something I did notice is that I can't change my volume and the other person's volume. So if maybe I want it a little bit louder and the other person wants it a little bit softer, there's no dual volume control with that. You're not going to be able to do that. Also, there's no buttons on it, right? So your button, if you're going to use this device beyond translation, if you just want to wear it and use it for listening to audio books or talking on the phone or whatever you want to, you can use it for that. It does have controls there on the side, but there's no button. It's that tap control. I'll tell you, in my life, I don't like that. I don't like that tap. I'm always double tapping it by accident and hanging up on people. I like having a physical button that I can push, okay? And then I'm going to show you kind of inside the app what it looks like. I'm going to do a little demo test so you can kind of see it running and what my audio looks like when I'm talking. But then I'm also going to tell you the one major at the end. And this is not like I'm trying to keep you on, but I do want to keep you on a little bit. The major flaw that I had, because I actually had some major flaws. I would not use this for a business meeting. I absolutely would not because of this flaw after you use it for about an hour. So with that said, let me screen share with you real quick and show you some of the features within the application itself. Okay, let's look at the application here. This is the application that you're going to see, and it's kind of the screen you see before your headphones are connected. So what you're going to need to do is just open up your box, and that will kind of start that connecting process. You can see it connected real quickly. So let's go through the steps you see here. So you can see your headset there along the top, and you can see how much battery each one has. If you drill into that, you really don't get a whole lot of information, just some of the firmware and that kind of stuff. Nothing real exciting. Top right-hand corner shows you previous conversations, and that is pretty cool. Where it says little AI top right-hand corner there, it shows you previous conversations, and you can drill into those conversations if you want to, and you can actually listen to the audio of those conversations. So that's pretty cool. That's cool. A little feature, a little history of your conversations. Offline translation. You have to go in and download what languages you want in the offline translation. And I'll tell you, I believe you gotta pay a little bit for those. It wasn't a lot of money, especially compared to the $400 for the headset. but certainly you can use offline translation. I will tell you, when I used it, it did not work for me. It just didn't work. You do need a good, solid internet connection, and the offline translation wasn't activating. It wasn't working. I didn't have a good experience. One-on-one, this is really what the headset is designed for. And so I'm going to give you a quick example of that. So one-on-one, you can see the blue lit headset is the left headset. And this is what I'm going to hand to the person who, in my case, is going to be speaking Spanish. And I'm wearing the right ear one. Now, listen, if you prefer the left ear, you just hit that little blue button in the middle, and that will actually swap those two. And you swap between Spanish and English for the headset, and kind of change what you're doing. Down here along the bottom is the recording of what's being said. So I'm going to go ahead and put in that headset into my ear. All right, and now I'm going to begin speaking. And so you're going to see these lines running below. You can see that it's kind of starting to translate, but not translating real fast. And it just now started to translate into the other headset. So you can see I was talking for a few minutes, and it still hasn't, it just translated the first line. It hasn't spoken. And now it's starting to speak the next lines that it just translated. And so you can kind of see the delay that's taking place. You can also see that over there, that headset's sitting about 5 feet away from me, and it's still picking up some of my voice. Excellent. I didn't say that. But it picked, it's hearing that. So that's one of your issues, especially if you're in close quarters. I think that I was having with it was that if you're sitting there talking to someone and you're not across the room or anything like that, that it's going to be picking up your voice, especially if that person's looking at you and that headset's pointed towards you. I just think that you need to be aware of that. And so like I said, you can kind of see what it's translating, how quickly it's translating. I will say that I thought for a minute that some of the translations were not coming over accurately, but I pulled the audio and put them into Google Translate, and they actually translated just fine. So you can kind of see the process this is following and the speed that it's going, and it's going pretty good. One thing I didn't like is that if I saw something that didn't translate, let's say I said something and it thought I said something different. It voice to text transcribed something different than what I said. I would have preferred to be able to stop that real quick so it didn't translate it and say it to that person. But there was no way to do that. It just kept translating it. So that's this process, and that's that translation process. And so it's just picking up what I'm saying and just continuing on. We're going to go out of that. And now we're going to go into listen and play. Now what that is where basically it's going to listen to what I'm saying using the headset, and then it's going to translate it into Spanish. But the other person is not using a headset. The other person is going to be speaking directly to the phone. And so what's happening right now is the phone is picking up what I'm saying, and it's kind of trying to think that I'm speaking Spanish because the phone is facing me. If I were to face kind of the phone down around and I'm just going to talk into the headset, you probably are not going to see that much translation taking place up on the Spanish side of things. But you can kind of see that where you have that issue, where you kind of have that double mic issue going on. And that's a little bit of an issue. Right? So let me go back and just kind of show you the last thing, which is this media translate. Something I haven't used because this is a paid feature, right? So you can play media. Maybe it's WhatsApp message, maybe it's a telephone call, which is pretty cool. But you can play that media and get translation, but you have a time limit there, and you have to pay for more additional time. And there's an expiration on that, right? So you see that 500 minutes is only valid for 31 days. And so let's take a look at what the price is for that. 5 fish, you got to pay for. Let's see. It looks like I already have some of that. So let me do 2,000 minutes, 15 fish. And let's see, 15 fish. Well, it's not going to show me the actual amount. I'm going to have to go into that payment. I really don't want to do that. So that's that paid feature. Kind of a cool feature, but not one that I personally am going to use. Let me go back into that one-on-one. Let me just go into the settings real quick. Here in the settings, you can see that I can change what I hear if it's going to be a male or female voice, and I can change what the person hears. So, like if I'm speaking, I'm probably going to want the person to hear a male voice, and vice versa. If the person is a male, I'll keep it as a male voice. As a female, I might change it to a female voice, just to kind of make that look that what the person you're looking at, you can hear that type of voice. But it doesn't really, you really don't have a lot of voice options there. I can go in here and just switch between male and female, but that's about it. Here I can also switch the language that I'm going to be hearing, and I can drill into what language they're going to be speaking. I can look at my font size, and then of course I can change my glossary. I can add a glossary, words that I'm using that aren't translating properly, especially if this is a business meeting. Let me go back into here, and I'll just go into let's see if there's anything else I wanted to show you on that. I don't think there is. Let me just go into I'll show you your language options. So I spend time in El Salvador, so it's Spanish in El Salvador, but you can drop down and see there's multiple Spanish dialects in there that you can choose from. Guatemala, you got Portuguese, German, all these different languages that you can choose from that you can translate. So let me slide back over here, and we will talk about the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about. All right, so the final thing I wanted to talk to you about is this unit itself. And I'll tell you, for the first hour, I did this maybe with 5 different people. And for the first hour, actually probably hour, maybe 2 hours, it worked out really well. Everything was good. And then there just came this moment when the headset just didn't want to pick up voice. And I was just sitting there on my face. I didn't change anything, didn't change positions. And when I was looking at the recording, you can see the lines of audio that it's hearing. It wasn't hearing any audio. I'd be talking and talking and talking, no lines of audio. Talking louder, no lines of audio. And I would actually have to take the headset off and hold it like this to my mouth. And it's interesting, and listen, I don't know enough about audio stuff to know, anything really, but it looks like the microphones, I'm sure they have a noise cancellation microphone floating around here, these two, and this is probably your primary microphone, and it's actually kind of pointed outwards, not directly forward. Again, hey, I don't, what do I know? What do I know about microphones? But that there definitely was an issue, and it wasn't an issue of the system not working, because if you pulled it off your head and spoke directly into it, it would translate. And then you had to put it back on your ear real quick to hear what the person was saying, and then pull it back off, speak directly into it, put it back on your ear, and hear what the person had to say. I'll definitely say that any background noise really degraded it. If you had music at a restaurant, or if you're in a car and there's wind blowing, it really, really caused the problem with it, and hearing that audio and translating that audio. But if you're in a semi quiet space in the office, or working in a restaurant where you didn't have a lot of background noise, it did work pretty well. $400, well, probably not. I mean, Google Translate is so good. Listen, the value that this app has is not necessarily this. This is not a $400 headset. The value, the $400, is the technology. And what I personally would much rather have in the technology aspect of that is I would rather be able to use my own Bluetooth headset that I've paid $150 for, that I love. I wear it all the time. This is the Bluetooth headset that I prefer, and allow the person I'm talking to use the Bluetooth headset that they prefer. That's what I would rather have. Then I'm not tied into what happens if something happens to this, or, and I got, Amazon insurance on it, but if it gets lost or whatever, and now you're just out $400, and this is not $400. What you're out is the technology, right? And you still have the technology. I'd rather pay $100 for the app and just use my headset. They were able to tie 2 headsets into it. And so the issue I told you where it wasn't picking up the audio, that's why I would not use this in a business environment until that piece is fixed. Because and again, I don't think it's a software issue. Excuse me. I really think it was a hardware issue. And so, in a business setting where I'm trying to have deals and negotiate things, I probably would not use that because I can't get into a situation. I just bring in an interpreter because I can't get in a situation where that person's having to take his headset off, speak into it, then put it back on his face real quick, and it's just too much back and forth. Without that problem, the delay is a little bit annoying, but it's actually pretty decent. And I probably would go into a business environment without bringing in an interpreter. Now, I will say, just in almost all cases, I found that we would set the phone up in a manner so we could both see the phone, and I would talk into that headset. And in almost all cases, we would just read off of what was being said on what was being translated on the screen, because that was actually translating a lot faster than it was reading it back to us. And so, actually, in a lot of cases, we were just talking and looking at the screen, and that kind of goes back to, well, then we could have just used Google Translate. Could have just done that. And so just something to think about. I'm not saying it's right or wrong or any of that. I'm just saying, in my experience, Google Translate might have worked just as well. It's kind of nice to have that earpiece where you don't have to read it if you don't want to look at it. But for us, it worked out fine. I used that feature where I talked into the headset and showed the phone to some security guards when I was trying to get entry into like a building complex or an apartment complex. I would show the security guard the phone. I could speak into my headset. I could be holding the phone up. Whereas opposed to Google Voice, I'd have to come over here, then have to send it over him, come over here, send it over him. In this case, he can just hold the phone. I could say it, it would translate it. He can speak into the phone, and we'd have to do some back and forth. So there's some value to it. Probably not $400 value, but certainly, I'll be honest with you, if I could use my own headset, I didn't have that bad feature, I'd pay $150 for that app all day long, and use my own headset and let the person I'm meeting with use their own headset. So, man, I hope that helps you. I hope that helps give you some advice on this headset, the Timekettle. Let me know. Let me know if you got any questions. I'll kind of follow along and see if there's any things I can answer for you. God bless. Have a great week.